Now it's working. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Secretary, please call roll.
Oh, yeah. Commissioner Rivers.
Here.
Commissioner Way.
Here.
Commissioner Flowers.
Here.
Commissioner West.
Here.
Commissioner Brown.
Here.
Okay.
Huh?
Huh?
She said commissioner.
I said commissioner.
You're letting me come?
Okay, y'all need hearing aids.
Okay, so now we must set our tentative millage rate. Again, this is not the final rate, this is the first of two hearings.
Well, the final, okay, so at the final hearing, which would be October 2nd, whatever. Or the first, whatever's on the final, and I don't have it in front of me, I don't remember the dates.
Yeah, well, tentative is today, the second will be October 1st.
Okay, and that, I gotta get it in the paper too when I go back to work.
Yeah, but you set it up perfectly in the
Yeah.
memo as far as.
So Friday, October 1st will be the final public hearing, and that will be at 5:05. And at that meeting, Clay's going to read the resolutions for accepting the budget and accepting the millage rate. So we have two resolutions that will be read. So at this meeting, we have to decide, really, I mean, you could change it at the final hearing, it's not, because it's already gonna be in the paper. That's the problem with this whole setup with Tallahassee, the way they want these by dates. So what we really have to do is come up with whether you want the rollback rate or the last year's rate. And you have two, since we have the two scenarios, one, it just shows the tax revenue difference. Every other number pretty much stays the same. The only other thing that does change is the district projects. You'll have much more, not much more, but you'll have, it's not even that big of a difference, but that'll be higher on one of them than the other,
Right.
based on what we're budgeting for the year.
So I think we can go ahead and begin discussion then.
Okay, but one more thing. The other sheet I sent you was just budget projects. You don't have to come up with any of that now.
Right.
That you could discuss at the next meeting if you want, the next regular meeting, of what you want to give to, the sheriff's overtime, because it'll all come out in this group here. And whether you pick rollback rate or last year's rate.
The only thing is, within the discussion, if you could make reference to the draft of the two different columns of numbers, because there does need to be a consideration of the specific reasons as to why the tax is whatever you adopt it to be. You don't need to go line by line, I can deal with that in the minutes. Just verbally, it needs to be clear that this was looked at and considered by all the commissioners in deciding which rate that they believe is the appropriate one. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, talk.
So, I have a few comments. I would like to move forward with the proposed case 2 4.18% increase. The reason I would like to see that increase, first, I think it's the nominal increase in terms of line items where we spent more than we had anticipated. We have the St. Johns County Night Vision, the City of St. Augustine Fire Boat Navigational Equipment, and the boat that was just out there, the airboat, all expenses that we did not allocate funding for the past fiscal year, roughly adds up to almost close to 100,000, not quite, but at any rate, I have a bigger philosophical perspective on the increase in millage. during this last legislative session, there was a bill that passed that restricted the ability for local governments to increase impact fees. So I met with the planning staff over at St. Johns County, and they are really feeling like they've got their hands tied because we've got all this development coming in and they're not able to increase the impact fees. Increasingly, that burden, I think we are going to be looked to by a lot of entities as a potential funding source. And I think we made one of the best moves that we could have ever made in putting aside those reserve funds for waterway beach access projects. I think more and more residents of St. Johns County are going to be looking for projects like that, and to the extent that we can continue that sort of funding and acquire that buffer, I think it's in the best interest of this board and for the people that put us into office. I don't think anyone out there that voted for any one of us would take issue with a very nominal increase in their millage rate. And that the funding has to come from somewhere, and I think we're going to increase it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Just to be clear, this is not even an increase in the millage rate. This is just maintaining last year's millage rate.
Yeah, and it is considered.
It is considered.
An increase by,
Yeah,
like
that's
Tallahassee, when I put the ad in the paper,
Right,
I have to state that.
Accounting trickery,
But the rollback rate is nothing changes. It all depends on, it's the real estate and what the numbers are.
Right.
Because I get, every year, I get how much the,
Right.
that's all you're doing, is voting for one or the other.
So can we just do we need to have a motion, or can we just do a voice vote for one or the other?
Just to be clear on the record, that's the motion, a second, invite this huge audience, I'm being facetious for the recording, whether there's any questions or comments as to that, then a quick roll call vote on it.
And they only require, when I fill out these forms on how the vote was taken, they only require,
I second. Now then.
I don't want to, I just want to make my comment, because I'm not going to move to increase taxes, and last year's rate will increase taxes on the commission admin projects.
That's fine.
Let you just finish if you don't want, so if you're not, I would say I would want the rollback rate.
Okay, great. We have to open for public comment. There are no members of public here. Public comment and question. We have a motion and a second. So all in favor? Aye. All opposed? So that's 4-1 for the last year's rate.
Which is a tax increase.
Thank you. Next is setting the tentative budget. Same procedure as above.
it's a beach voice, stop it. So on the last year's rate where it says case 2, that's the budget you're agreeing with.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Is there any other additional discussion on this? Right. So
No, you have to vote on the budget. Two different votes.
If there's any significant modifications or any questions anyone has before we go forward with adopting this tentative budget.
Where does website services with, what is it, Avid? What category does that?
It's another income, or other expense, I'm sorry.
Other operating
Yeah.
expenses?
Yeah. And that's hard to come up with an actual figure, because it change, it's the little things that are not part of the big groups, like telephone, it's not,
Right.
it's,
Catch all bucket.
it's like a miscellaneous, but, yeah.
Any other discussion or questions? I'll make a motion that we adopt this budget as presented.
Second.
Public discussion or questions? The public are here. We have a motion on the floor. Any additional discussion? No. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. So with that, I believe concludes our first trim hearing.
And the final will be again, Friday, October 1st.
Friday, October 1st.
At 5:05, and we have to have a quorum.
Have a quorum, so. Be here.
Thank you all.
Or be square.